and welcome to another episode of Chick Chat Live. My name is Cornelia, and on the first segment of the show today, we are talking about the pursuit of happiness. And our hot topic of the day is redefining respect and equality for the African woman. Joining me in the studio today are some wonderful ladies. One of them is Jifa Gray, TV personality. Thank you for joining us. How are you today? I love the Yonsei.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you so much. Jeremy Van Gorshen. I get that right? Multimedia personality. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
I appreciate being here.
And last but certainly not the least, Mama Atefua. I'm up with my Ghana this year.
Yes, you are.
Retail entrepreneur, thank you for joining me.
You too.
Now we have a new tradition on the show. I want you guys to pick a number between 2 and 12.
11.
Okay.
Okay, that was quick.
Yeah. I was like, what?
2 and 12. 11.
7.
Okay, Jifa.
10.
Okay, Jeremy, roll the dice.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. What? Easy now.
Stay with it.
I know.
What is that? 7. You got 7. Oh, well, you get to go first.
Okay.
So I was having a conversation with my friend about happiness. I found that over the last year, I've been kind of struggling with kind of maintaining a balance in terms of highs and lows. Because sometimes you go through, things in life that give you joy.
Yeah.
And then sometimes life is just mundane and you're kind of just coasting along.
Yeah.
So we had this conversation about this happiness thing and this balance thing in life. Is happiness something you be, or is happiness something that you have to kind of chase?
First off, I believe happiness is relative. And so what might make me happy or the states that I might feel I am happy in is not necessarily the state she might feel happy in. And so different people define it. Maybe for someone, until she gets married, she's not going to feel happy. That's
until you achieve that thing.
Yeah. Like, the day that I do, oh my God, happiness overload or overkill or whatever, or the day that I'm able to do this or that or that. But I believe that it's a within thing. And if you base it on the happenings around you, which is how we define happiness anyways, is the happenings around us. What happens is when nothing is happening, you're like, cricket, like there's nothing happening. But what you can do to maintain it continuously, for me personally, is purpose. Okay. I feel like anytime I'm doing something that lights me up, I feel like I'm in that space of yay, So for me personally, it started with purpose. So I always used to feel blah. Even though I was doing radio and television and speaking and all of that good stuff, I just felt like there was something missing. But then when I stepped into that space of, this is what I'm actually meant to do. When you start to do something where you see other people benefit and go, listen, girl, like because of you, I'm da-da-da-da-da, or because of you, like this changed for me, or you light up, it's like, well, okay, I'm doing something, so then it's not really based on, my girlfriends are not around, or I'm not having a girls' night out, or I'm not but it's from within because you're seeing that you're actually living out what you're born to do. So for me, I'd say it's when you step into purpose, the happiness is a bit more continuous.
So this purpose and passion thing. Shifa, let me throw this to you. I feel like it's gone pop with everybody sort of leaving traditional employment and everybody thinking, I want to find what it is I want to do. I find that with this purpose thing, even when you're walking in your purpose, I'm walking in my purpose, but it's not making me a lot of money right now.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Jifa, just drawing from what she said, it seems to me like you found your purpose. Or maybe not, if you don't mind sharing. How do you feel about finding the purpose and still balancing the happiness? Because I think you can still be unhappy walking in your purpose. And I've had feelings of that where I say, okay, I know that I like what I do, but a degree of success to me is measured by some kind of financial stability or wealth.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm doing something, I want to be able to amass a certain amount of wealth. I think I feel obligated to amass wealth and sort of pass it on to another generation or teach another generation how to amass wealth. Can you speak to that?
Honestly speaking, when it comes to purpose and still being happy, I always have to cast it back to my childhood. That's what I do because it's a journey. It has been a journey for me, where I grew up, how I grew up, who I grew up with, who really was around, and what I ate, how I was spoken to, what was said into my head, what I saw with my eyes, and how I digested that. So these are the things that makes me the woman that I am and has granted me the lead to become the woman that I am today. Purpose you find along the way, but everybody has their definition of purpose. Mine might be maybe the fact that I have got myself into a situation where I am a single parent and I have a 10-year-old son. And my 10-year-old son is one amazing boy who I still want to see him do better in life. How am I going to define that? Am I going to add that into my itinerary as a mother and make him the best of a man that a mother would want their child? It's not about you. It's about the people around you. Like Jeremy said, you have to make sure that because of your environment, you embrace certain things and accept it the way it is and find a way to make it better. So my purpose has always been making sure that I am excited, I'm happy. People are also happy around me. And at the end of the day, I have to see nothing tend to something. It's a struggle because you're going to fall out with people. People are going to see you and find a better way to define you that suits them. But I don't care about that. I think that I used to bother about that until I realized that this is what makes my soul rejoice. And so far as it's in line with making another person happy, especially more than one people, who the hell are you to define me differently? So I think that you have to also relate to people in a way where you can accept their purpose and see how you can use yours in connection for a better life.
It sounds to me like you're saying you are, what you define as purpose is being of service to yourself and others by way of motherhood. By way of taking care of yourself, by way of motherhood. And I agree with the fact that I don't think there's one, you found your purpose if you're like a musician or a singer or whatever it is. Like, you know, I think that you can have multiple purposes and land into because even those people who haven't had children can find being of service to children is what they enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
So let me bring it over to you. Have you chased happiness? Is that something that you
actually, just before the show started, I was just speaking to Chifa and I was saying to her that I think I've actually been really happy maybe the past year or year and a half. And I find that like if you attach your happiness to an ambition or a purpose, the moment something falls, like you just said, you're not happy. Because you haven't fulfilled that purpose or you haven't fulfilled that ambition or you're not successful in that way. So you see that you have ups and downs because everything is going smoothly and then you fall and everything is going smoothly and then you're not happy. And my mom will always be like, Mommy, be happy, be happy, learn to be happy. And I never understood until like recently, it's like light bulb. I started reading this book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I'm not sure if I'm Totally up. But it teaches you about being in the present, being there now, appreciating what is around you now, seizing the opportunity wherever you find yourself. And I feel like once you tune, it's intentional. You have to do it intentionally.
Is that something you have to do every day?
You have to do it intentionally.
I know, like, based on how life goes and how cyclical life is.
You have to be intentional to be happy. You have to learn to appreciate the things around you. And you have to appreciate them now to be happy.
I want to add something little to what she said, that I've come to realize that, and not to be churchy or anything, but I am a church girl. Come on, somebody. Just to add to that, I used to feel the cycle that you're talking about of, well, I was happy, but it's gone. And so it's sort of like you're chasing after it. And what I realized was there's a difference between happiness and joy. So the happiness thing fades. It's sort of like it's like a high. So it's like, you know, it's like smoking to get high. It gets you there, and then when it fizzles off, you have to do it again. And then it gets you, or drinking to get drunk and whatever. You throw up, you have a hangover, and then you have to do it again to feel that. And that's what happiness kind of is like for me, but joy is on your inside.
That's true.
And no one can take that away from you. And that comes from God, because the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Okay.
Amen. I do agree with Jeremy, and I think that there are amazing structures that human beings have gained from God or nature,
because nature is between good and bad, and however you digest it. But I think that when it comes to understanding what nature has for you as an individual, you always will fight for what is right, what brings you joy and makes you happy, for it to extend to other people. Because look, you can be in an environment where it's nothing positive. But how are you going to tune your mind and make it okay for yourself?
Yeah, so people who are working in jobs, they do not, they have
it's
no
one
desire
of the difficult
to be there
things.
but the paycheck. Yeah.
And the amazing thing about women is that when a woman has so much joy from within, it's benefits. It's just exudes.
Yeah. But I find it very, very difficult to, depending on how much life has knocked you down.
Yeah.
I think life can be very brutal sometimes. And just trying not to stay bitter, trying to be this joyous person
absolutely.
and see somebody else's happiness. If you've been longing for a child, you know, you're talking about goals of ambitions. There are people who have been working. Sometimes it's just whoever God decides to shine the favor on. There are people who have toiled and toiled and they cannot hustle past some people. And life is just unkind. So how do you tell that kind of person to be intentional? You know what I mean? When life just really just knocks you back down.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why there's a lot of depression going. People are killing themselves because they're screaming on the inside
But you look
for
at
this
yourself,
happiness.
you should even be grateful that you are experiencing something. Somebody did not wake up today. That's one. If you have a child and your child is healthy, going to school, that's something to be grateful for and be happy.
Yeah.
Can you pay the bills the next day or the day after if you are living day to day? If you can, why aren't you happy?
Yeah.
Can you change the situation around you?
Yeah.
I think everybody can change whatever situation that they're in. You just have to have that courage to step out of it.
I believe that happiness is a constant. It's a practice more than a pursuit, and I think that gets easier to say as you get older, because I think you start to see the things that you attached happiness to not be the things that bring you happiness and joy. And so I think in the early stage of your life, because our lives are sort of in different stages. And so in the stages when people are doing things for you and you're very dependent on people, you happiness is tied to their happiness. So I think those are like the times where you get good grades and when you're at the top of your class and you see your parents be so proud of you. I think those are the things that give you happiness. And I think that's where our happiness pursuits begin, because it's constantly tied to achievement. I don't really think balance. I don't understand balance. I understand integration. And so how do I live an integrated life? And that means how do I live a life in which I feel healthy, I feel like I'm making a contribution, I feel challenged, I feel that I am constantly moving my expectations and meeting my expectations, and that I'm able to spend time with family and friends. Those things are integrated into what I do, and so that to me is what brings me joy.
To kind of wrap up this first episode, I want to ask you, what has been balance for you?
That's a tough one.
It's personal to everybody.
Yeah. Balance for me is fulfilling my goals, providing for my child, happy home.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
Are you there now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. You're on the way.
You have to. I feel like at every stage you compromise.
Yeah.
You compromise as you're fulfilling your goals. You realize that you're not being, or to you think you're not being a good mom.
Yeah.
So you divert your attention there, and then you have to fall on your ambition or purpose or goal. So it's balance. Do you really ever have balance?
Yeah, I don't think so, but I think it's a word that gets thrown around that
so easily.
That people think there's like a definition, which is like happiness that changes it.
Life isn't balanced. You just have to compromise and make good use of your time and appreciate whatever you have, the moment you have, the things around you, the people around you.
I think if we look at time as a valuable gift and be patient with ourselves and the timing that we give ourselves, then there wouldn't be any pressure. Because I think a lot of it is just that chasing. It's like a race against time is literally what I'm trying to say. I think that's a good summary to the first segment.
One of my favorite phrases, give time some time.
Yes.
No. So my friends laugh at me when I say that, but I believe that,
in it. Yeah,
absolutely. It's only a matter of time. and you would see things begin to fall in place. In the moment when it's happening, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, but then if you give it some time, you look back and you're like, oh, okay, that's why this happened. You know, the dots begin to connect and it makes better sense.
Well, thank you.
So give time.
We got to wrap up this segment before that. Thank you so much, ladies. That's all we have time for in this first segment. We'll be back with the hot topic of the day. Well, welcome back, guys, to the hot topic. And on this segment, we are going to be talking about redefining respect and equality for the modern day African woman. Perfect examples, ladies. I'm going to start with you, Mommy. What does respect mean for you as it pertains to society? How do you define society respecting you as a Black woman first and then as an African woman?
Who is a modern day woman? And why does the modern day woman demand respect from the society? Is the modern day woman demanding respect from the society, or does she feel like she needs, like, what is it? Respect for me is not by defining it, I'm still going to use the word, but appreciating everybody's job, appreciating everybody as they are.
Everybody's role.
Everybody's role, you know. I feel like once everybody's role is respected, then we will get the performance that we want to achieve in each role. Because at the end of the day, you want me to respect you, but if you're not performing the way you're supposed to perform, how am I going to respect you?
What are you demanding from men or not demanding from men in terms of respecting roles? So you're talking about a woman who decides to stay at home. Do you think that society respects that?
Honestly,
that is dependent on her partner. You know, a stay-at-home mom, for instance.
It's a stay-at-home mom. Honestly, I feel like society does not respect the stay-at-home mom, but there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom. There's nothing wrong. And I feel like also women, we subject ourselves to the disrespect of being a stay-at-home mom. If you value your work, if you value your purpose, if you value why you are a stay-at-home man and woman, and you value the things that you do at home to make the home run, automatically people will respect you.
Okay, so speaking of roles, you were talking about like the different roles, and I've spoken to a number of women in different countries who have chosen to stay at home. And I find that when couples have a child and they calculate childcare, it makes sense for one person to stay at home and take care of the child. And that one person is usually not the man. A woman's job after a certain age becomes obsolete because your children have grown up, they leave, and then you decide you want to find yourself or go back to work, and you've lost 7 years of your life. So speaking of equality, have we reached a place where it's even open for discussion for the man to be the one to stay at home if his career doesn't have as much longevity as the woman? That's one part of the question. That's the equality part of the question. I also think, are we as women respecting how our children see us and what we are? Because it's easy to say, I want to stay home. Do your kids respect you for staying home? Because you stay at home thinking it's the right thing to do or righteous thing to do to bond with your kids, but you're showing them, mommy's just home. Oh, mommy's something, daddy's something, something's always at work. And they're wondering why you're staying home. So from the respect that you receive from your kids' angle, and then from the equality, where are we with men staying home for a period of time or sharing that responsibility? Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Okay. So to start off with equality, I don't think it's a question of equality. I think it's a question of choice and respect.
Okay.
We were all made in God's image. For all you know, God is a woman. So why won't you give me the same respect that you give a man? And if a man chooses to stay, I feel like also society puts so much burden on us, because if a man decides to stay at home and he takes care of the home just as well as, let's say, a woman would, why will society laugh at him?
Yeah, I also think that they don't. I think that the woman looks bad, and it's almost like the woman allowed. She's not a good woman, so allowing her husband to do the woman thing. Yeah.
But I feel like also as the couple, maybe it starts from there. It starts from there, respecting each other's choices. If the man decides to stay at home and he's doing a good job, hey, pat to the back. Thank you. You know, if you're bringing in enough money as a woman, he should also respect you enough to say thank you. I think I may not say thank you enough anyway. But then the second part as well, you're talking about children seeing mommy staying at home all the time. Again, it starts from home. When we were kids or when we are younger, if a woman is at home and doing something, the husband must show respect to the woman. That's the only way that the kids will also respect mom.
Right.
If mom is at
Him
home.
respecting her role as the stay-at-home mother. Yeah.
Yes. It all boils down to respect and
Do you
choice.
think we have that now? Because I think there's a lot of emotional abuse that comes with you staying at home. And I like that you said, does the husband respect the wife? Because that's one way that he can show that what you're doing is it's actually a job. But do you think men respect their wives enough for just staying at home? Because somebody raised something on Instagram or something not so long ago about men paying their wives for staying home because it's a job, and everybody came for her, like, you know, why she's. I mean, I wouldn't mind being paid. I wouldn't mind, but I don't think I could put a value on taking care of my children. So I think that's where I understood where she was going with it, but you're always going to be a full-time nanny as a mother. So. Let me ask you, Jiffa, how do you feel about your child seeing you working or not working? Have you battled with that?
Okay, so being at home, handling my own business as an entrepreneur, and because I work for myself, I am flexible.
Right.
So sometimes my son comes back from school and asks me, "Mommy, what did you do today? Did you go out?" Sometimes when it's Saturday, because I have my shows on Saturdays, it's like, okay, when I don't, because I'm not on TV anymore, this is my son. "Mommy, what are you doing this Saturday? Do you have any plan?" Because I have been able to cut for myself something to fill in that gap.
Yep.
And so when I don't do that, this is my son asking me, "Mommy, what are you doing? Are you not doing anything today?" So he's used to seeing me active.
Yeah. And do you think it's important to cultivate that respect for your children to see you doing something?
I think it's a beautiful thing to have my son ask me questions like that, meaning that he actually is being impacted.
Yeah.
And that's what I need him to become, a man who will be productive for tomorrow and for the woman that he's going to end up with, and for himself most especially, and to the society, because I find it I think that being a single parent, I mean, I always speak for myself. I think that it has been a journey where I have learned so much how to deal with myself, how to know what I have to do and where I have to do it and how I have to do it and what time to do it, and how it has worked for me and many others, because it's not always going to be for you, your son. But as a mother, you will end up being mother to many other
people.
And so I think that it's a great thing to have our children realize that, look, what mother or father is doing is productive and is helping. And the respect must be shown. It clearly shows that my son respects what I do.
Yeah.
And so,
so you're saying that they respect you more for being active and productive.
Because this is his dad isn't around.
So you have to show him.
Yes.
You don't want to raise somebody who just thinks it's good to
can.
chill at home all day, even if that's what you want to do.
And the days I try to relax, this is mommy, what are you doing? It's funny. And this is, Dylan, can I have some time for myself?
Yeah.
He's like, okay, that's fine. And it's a beautiful reminder from a child.
I appreciate that. Moving on to you, Jeremy. Do you think African women are respected in their marriages? When we talk about redefining respect and equality in terms of decision-making, beyond the, financial responsibility of taking care of the home and the nurturing, do you think that our decisions are respect? And that's outside of just having somebody that gets you and respects you as his mate. But in general, do you think that there's an equality in marriage, or do you think that we're still struggling with that?
To answer your question first off, in Africa, no. I think we're struggling with that. Okay. But it comes back to what she said about the husband and the wife respecting each other. Every marriage is different and every home is different. How both of you decide to make it work in your space. When before you came together, you decided, listen, this is the kind of home we're going to have. We want to live in luxury, so we're going to be flying across the world. Okay, so we need to make this amount of money that we're going to put in the bank account to know every year we're going on vacay. It depends on what you decide as a home. But if you don't decide anything and you're just,
but I guess what I'm trying to really hit home on is whether or not women are equally making that decision with the men, or is it that you've just
their homes where it's happening.
Where it's happening.
As
a whole, we would say no.
It's a struggle.
As a whole,
It's a struggle.
I think that the men usually you're moving into the husband's house. Even with our traditions,
Mm-hmm.
after you get married, you carry the bride goes into the husband's house.
True.
It's very rare that you would have a man move into the
Yeah.
woman's home.
Yeah.
And I think obviously whoever has it more at the time should really be the one to help out. But sometimes
Absolutely.
the man has to be the man, even if he's not the man at the time of the marriage. So I still think that the way society shapes and reinforces those, it's holding marriages back, and it's not allowing marriages to truly blossom.
But define
in
your
its-
marriage.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
Redefine
do not
your
let,
marriage,
Yeah,
yeah.
do not let society
yeah.
tell you. There's a friend of mine. Okay, I can't say names, but he was telling me what him and his wife look like, and I said I want some of that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because he was saying certain things. She makes certain decisions. They've decided.
Yeah.
And he's okay with it.
Yeah.
So she decides where, like for instance, they had to move from where they were living, and it was a job thingy
Yeah.
that had come up, and because of that, they would have to, like, the entire family is going to have to move to a whole different space.
Yeah.
It's a major decision. That's not a fried rice or jollof rice.
First, yeah.
Which one do I want?
Yeah.
It is a life
Decision,
we're
yeah.
relocating, you know, but he allowed for her to be able to make that decision. I trust her as my wife, and it's A-okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, someone is going to look from, as you're saying, in the African setting, no, you're the man and you're supposed to decide, no, she shouldn't. But when you have that mutual whatever, it's beautiful to see, actually.
Yeah.
And it goes to show that it's possible for other people as well. Yeah.
I wish more households and society would allow that more. Would allow women to.
I also think that homes are breaking this amazing plan, because you might be brought up in a home where the man pays the bills, sorts everything out, and mother has always been home taking care of us. As much as you went to school, you met friends, you're facing life, your life is tuned in a way, and so you're used to
Based
that.
on your background,
Now,
your upbringing.
how do you try to compromise? It's a problem.
Yeah.
As much as you love the man, or you love your society and you want to make changes, it's something that has been planted in you. It's in you, in your head. You've seen it all your life. How do you change that? It's a struggle, and that is actually breaking loads of homes, beautiful homes.
Yeah.
And I personally think that if women can try and just be women, I think that we have the power to put everything that we want to put in place accurately. It's something
Do you
amazing.
think we have the power?
No, listen
and
to
I
me.
think that's why we're having this conversation.
When I say a woman has power, a woman has a mindset that can never be changed. And especially if it is possible, if it's positive. If it's negative, woe unto you, because that's a women will do anything to get what they want. If you have a man that you care about so much, why won't you invest that positivity into something great? And that's the beauty of love and wanting to, and respect, really. And what women really demands is respect. It's as simple as that.
As a continent, I think we are still growing. And I definitely think we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go regarding respecting the woman and her place, respecting the woman and her power to make choices, her power to make decisions, her power to do many things. In fact, I think last week I saw in the news, local news in Nigeria, that conversations are being had about restricting the number of children a woman can have as some sort of way to control numbers or whatever it is. But I was like, oh, who impregnates the woman? Why is nobody saying that they're going to control or put a cap on the number of children a man can have, but a woman has a limit? So a man can continue sowing his wild oats as he likes, but the woman has a law or something. You know, I definitely think we have a long way to go. I live in Nigeria, so the Nigerian reality is more of my reality. And every single day, from little things like, oh, why are you driving like that? And then people spot your finger and there's no wedding band. Oh, it's because you're not married. Oh, I have your type at home. You know, there's no respect. So I cannot be making this decision for myself. Or a man hits a woman's car and says, I would not speak to you, I'm waiting for your husband. And in that moment, she doesn't have a husband, she doesn't have a man. What if even if she does, you cannot speak to her person to person, she's not a person, she can't be respected. And, you know, the lines are so blurred that it's subconscious. in the way we raise our children, in the way we have been raised. And we have to constantly remind ourselves that women are as equal as men, that women should be raised. A woman can think. A woman is not allowed to decide about, if a divorce is about to happen, it's okay for a man-ish. But a woman, divorce, but she's suffering in the marriage, or she's being beaten. I'm not an advocate for divorce, but I'm saying in those kinds of conversations, at work, for example, there are still men who have a problem taking instructions from female bosses because she's a woman, and they can't get past that image of a woman. Somebody on Twitter, Stephanie Busari, said something on Twitter that she's been in meetings, board meetings, where when she raises a point, nobody pays attention. And then a man says the exact same thing. And everybody's like, oh, yes. And then she's learned to say, thank you very much for repeating what I said or something. So I definitely think that we have a long way to go in respecting women in Africa.
I don't think it's a straightforward yes or no when it comes to it having changed. But I believe that it's a process and it's gradually progressing. Initially, in the days of old, you realize that for the woman, there were standards that were set for us, and we accepted how society defined us. So we're supposed to stay in the kitchen, and that was all that we were willing to do, just so society will accept us. But for now, women are willing to educate themselves, do more, pick on extra jobs, such that society now learns to respect us for the things that they were respecting men for. So at least now, I think that we appreciate women more now, much more, because of the things that we're willing to do. We're willing to take steps to get seats at the table instead of waiting for us to be invited to the table. And so with this, I see in a few years' time, 10, 15 years' time to come, women will be sitting at seats on the table with men because we deserve to be there, not because we are females and we think that we should be invited there.
Well, I think we have so much more work to do, but it's getting better. I mean, over the years, when you look at the treatment that's being given to women, it's gotten way better. Now, women are getting into higher positions. Women are being asked to take control of a lot of things. If you come to GH1 here, in the newsroom, our news editor is a woman. I'm a woman. In the past, you won't find a lot of women doing the major bulletin. So I think in the workplace, yes, it's getting way better, but it means that we still have a lot more work to do, because I'm looking at, by the year 2030, that discrimination that women can't take up certain positions because, at some time they'll ask for maternity leave and all of those things that come with it will be totally eradicated.
No, honestly, I feel like everybody should. Society dictates too much. Society tells us to be happy.
Yeah.
It's telling us how we should be happy, so that when you don't fall in the norm of what society is expecting, then you come back to not being happy.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of setting your own priorities, your own goals, fulfilling them outside of what society says. Yeah. But again, I'll go back to what I said. Everything takes effort. It's intentional. Again, you have to remember to block the noise. Yeah. Just block the noise. Once you are with a partner and you guys have an agreement, you agree with each other, you see eye to eye with each other. Hey, woman earns more than the man, so the man stays at home and the woman brings in the money, and it works. It works. Yeah. Everybody just needs to respect each other's choices.
So how do you find that voice on the inside that assures you of what you're doing and keeps you on the right path?
So I had a conversation with a friend who was telling me that, and this friend is in the media as well, and he was telling me, listen, I hear myself better and I hear God better in the noise, like in chaos and like a lot happening. And so I said, are you sure? Because I hear God in stillness and I hear myself in stillness. Yeah. So there are times when, so I have this tradition where on Mondays, I do nothing. unfortunately, I have to go on radio.
Yeah.
But aside that, when I get off air, no meetings, no, it's me time.
Yeah.
It's alone time. And it's my space to just zone out of everything else and focus on me.
Yeah.
And I think people need to cultivate the habit of, you will not be able to, you can't hear in the chaos, I'm sorry, because there's so many voices. There's the voice of the television, there's the voice of the radio,
Voice
your
of
friends,
social media.
family. There's it's loud. And whether, and it's not even to say that, that nobody's perfect. And yes, we're saying earlier on, one person could say one thing, even on social media, someone you don't know, DMs you one thing and
just
you're like,
throws you off. Yeah.
it just throws everything off.
Kills your
Yet you had
spirit,
yourself together, so it's to say, if you want to drown the noise, then you need to literally step away from the noise. I take time off of social media.
What's the longest you've been off of social media?
A year.
Oh,
Yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
You've been off a year?
No. I mean,
I was gonna say maybe I have an issue. Yeah.
So I was posting on every day because I do inspiration and stuff like that every day. I decided to go off. I think I went off in September 2017. And then I came back on in June, which was, that was 9 months.
Yeah.
And people were like, what? Did you travel? No, I did not travel. I needed to get away from all that noise and just find myself, hear myself, figure myself out without anyone giving me opinions and speaking stuff into I'll speak into my own self, and then I'd figure myself out. I'd read, I'd try to, and it allows for you to breathe, number one, and then also just
be mindful.
Yes, and figure out, what's my next step? This didn't go too well. Let me re-strategize. How am I going to, you need that time to be able to do that. Otherwise, people are constantly going to be determining, you're seeing, that
giving you
social
your voice.
media.
Because I think social media can actually
you're too
give you,
skinny, you're too this, as you were saying, why are you still single?
Yes.
You don't want to have a child. It's my decision. And I wanted to add this. What you're doing now is a part of what's going to redefine that.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it starts with the conversation.
It
starts with the conversation.
That's when a person is, some lady is sitting down right now watching us saying, okay, so it's, I'm not a problem for not wanting to be married by this time. Or I'm not a problem, because she's hearing it come up here. Yeah. So this also does help out a lot.
Yeah. Jiffa, do you think that single women across the world are starting to change that narrative? Because, having a career, having at least how perception is, you look put together.
I try.
And as a single mom, you look strong. You look like you kind of found, your rhythm. Yeah. Do you feel respected, or are you still conscious? Are there any insecurities with you maybe not having the typical nuclear family?
First of all, I respect myself.
Okay, that's a good start.
Because I have come a very long way. And to be a mother to another life that is growing up beautifully, that is like great job done.
Did you always feel that way, or you?
It was the effort of giving him the best, giving him the reality of life. And I think that's what I tried to do. I'm not perfect as a mother, but it's because I yearn to do that. Yeah. And it's positivity. As much as sometimes the fear of, is it going to go on well? Yeah. Is it going to run through well? Do you have the capacity to get there? Yeah. Sometimes I just don't know, but he does it. I don't know, but it happens. And it's because I feel that
that's grace.
I have a great energy, and I look forward to the best, and I rely on the best of it all, and that's God.
So you're attracting positive energy.
It's very important.
Energy is attracting
even if the energy is negative, you have to. That's what I do. I fight jealousy. I fight things every day of my life because I so cannot afford with the time that I have. Jeremy will say, give time some time. I give time, but yes, like I really can afford to invest certain energy into certain situations. But I also think that.
But were you shamed? Did you ever? I'm trying to get that.
Never ever.
You've never been shamed.
Never ever. Never ever. I talk about it boldly. Yeah. It wasn't my. I wanted to get married. When you're a child, when you're young, you're a teenager, you're growing, and you plan that beautiful fairy tale life for yourself, and it goes. And because I did everything that happened was out of love. Yeah. I so can't afford to have regret.
Yeah. I find that as women, we apply for a lot of domestic work. And by domestic work, I don't mean cleaning, cooking. I think even in banking, even when it comes to events, you know what I'm saying? We do a lot of nurturing. Our entrepreneurial things still sort of are domestic. We never truly reach for the highest qualifications. And that's not to say that they're not women who are in tech or, you know, STEM careers, but how can we start to, you know, push towards gaining more respect in the political field, gaining more respect in healthcare, gaining more respect in finance, beyond the domestic work that we do? What is it that keeps us in those domestic roles?
Okay.
Anybody can answer that. Whoever wants to jump in.
I'd say that first off, we don't have a voice. If you're that kind of a woman, you haven't allowed for yourself to have a voice, and so then you find yourself in a space where because naturally then this is what they say all the time: women are created to be emotional beings, and we're created to be nurturers, and we're created. So it makes it seem like that's the field in which you would flourish the most. Do that and keep it there, but if a woman begins to, and that's how come we have certain women that have been able to break the norms. They had a voice and decided, okay, I hear you, but I can do A, B, C, D too, and watch me do it. Most of the time, most women who would tell you their stories would say they had a lot of pushback, and they had a lot of people say, that space that you're going into is a man-dominated space. That space that you're going into, they will fight you. And these women still decide, okay, well, watch me do it. And it's not to say it's a walk in the park. It's going to be hard.
So it takes a certain kind of persona to push
and
through that.
And a certain kind of drive, because you'll be knocked down a lot of times. You know, so if they knock you down once and you're like, oh, me, I tried, or I at least I did it. No,
you didn't.
But you keep. How do you get a female president? You know,
there was so much backlash with Hillary. It was almost as if it was unfathomable that she could ever be president.
You know, how do you get? Even let's come to Africa. Ellen Johnson, Sirleaf. I'm sure a lot of people said, "Oh, mama, please chuck it." No, thank you very much. We appreciate you. We've never had a woman president. It's not a woman thing. Okay, you know, but I imagine what she had to take herself through. And we're not even just talking society. We're talking people that are close to you, whispering in your ear, listen,
don't do this thing.
What's good for you.
Don't. Especially in government and politics in Africa. Women don't have the guns.
And what it takes. You need the guns.
You need the guns.
That's what you need. And wrapping up, what we said about the stay-at-home mom and whether or not she's respected, I just wanted to say, if you are a stay-at-home mom, and you know, you want for, first off, it's not society that's going to let you know whether or not you should be respected, but there's so many things that you can do at home. You know, thank God now there's internet, so there's lots of online businesses that you can start. So you're not just there and looking after the baby and when they cry, changing their diapers, washing dishes and stuff. There's so many things that you could still do at home that can still get for your husband to go, so my wife is doing this, no. And he would still, you know, that respect would still be there even though you're at home. So it shouldn't be like just flat out, I'm home and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Hands between your legs and you're not really doing anything. So they should find other things that they can do. And the second thing I wanted to say was with the drowning out the noise thing, which is something that we literally have to do every day. How I drown out the noise 100% is drowning out what the world is saying and zoning into what God is saying. You know, because it allows for you to, it gives you the balance, let me put it that way. It gives you the balance when you're spiritually and emotionally and psychologically, you know, and financially and all of those, all the spaces or the different compartments of you are aligned, then you feel balanced, you know, but when it's lopsided, it literally does drag you down. So I do drown out the noise and zone into it.
Alignment, I agree. I will say, just to summarize that, when it comes to women playing those multiple roles, there are women who are dealing with sick children, so no pressure to always be doing everything. But again, I refer to the wisdom of Oprah when it says, the most valuable gift we can give ourselves is time. Time to develop our own self-respect, time to just be and be happy, just drawing on the pursuit of happiness. But thank you, ladies, for sharing. That was a wonderful episode. We have come to the end of the episode. That is all we have time for. If you would like to join the conversation, you can use the hashtag #ChickChatLive. Follow us on all our social media handles. See you next week on Chick Chat Live. Bye.